Come yet again to another In Conversation With. I told you every week, it's a new week, new guest that's going to inspire you and empower you more than anything. Today, I have this amazing, gorgeous, when I say gorgeous, I mean gorgeous lady, Kaluba. She's going to take us through her journey, her life journey, what makes her tick, what inspires her, what makes her first her day to day. But before we get into all of that, can we just talk about her dress for a second? She is looking lovely and ready to share some wisdom with you guys. Without wasting any more time, help me welcome my guest. Welcome, lovely lady.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me. I know we have crazy busy schedules, but I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me.
Thanks.
Before we get hectic, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Kaluba? What is she about? And yeah.
It's like one of those interview questions. Like,
yes.
Tell me about yourself.
It's probably the worst question anyone can ever ask you.
It's the most difficult question.
I
it's like,
know.
Where do you start?
There's
But
so
anyway,
much.
I'll start to where Kaluba was born. So
Yes.
I'm from Zambia. I was born and raised in Zambia, Lusaka, to be specific.
Oh, nice. I've never been.
She's
gonna take me there, guys.
You need to come. You need to come. So I was born and raised there. I did my primary school and a bit of my high school, secondary school, and then my family in 2012. My family moved to South Africa, so I relocated. I started my high school in Pretoria, South Africa, and it was a culture shift. Like, it was a huge culture shock for me.
I can imagine.
Curriculum change, and I was an A student. Like, I've always been an A student. I was always at the top of the class. And then I move to Pretoria to SA, and now I'm struggling. Just getting through my 50%, and that was a bit very, very difficult. So I had to firstly start learning the curriculum, catch up, and everything. And then on top of that, it's culture shock. Because Zambia is better now, but Zambia is also a bit more conservative than South Africa. Just regards to like just dressing, culture, everything, the way people.
So now you had to worry about all those small things.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
it was
God.
just adjusting to. Because in Zambia, as a teacher, you have to always call a teacher madam or ma'am or something. But in SA, when I came, people were calling teachers by their first names. I'm like, yo, hey Linda. I'm like, what? So that was a bit of a shift. But then so I completed my high school in Pretoria, and then I applied to different universities. University of Cape Town, University of Pretoria, University of Wits, and applied to do medicine because that was also my dream. That was a dream. Like, I want to become. I'm an A student. I want to become
a doctor.
A doctor. Like, this is what I
That's
was probably
most of A
for.
students. Like, that's where I'm going.
But even just not that. Just like most people, I think teachers or everyone will encourage you. Like, become a doctor. You're smart. Become a doctor. And so that was what I was pursuing. That was my dream up until university when I applied. And then I got my first letter from, I think it was University of Pretoria. I was excited. Got my first letter of response, and they said, "Oh, we regret to inform you."
We regret.
We know that you will regret to inform you. And they told me because I was an international student, I couldn't study medicine
in South Africa.
Yes. So it was going to be. I know it was going to be a struggle at both University of Pretoria, University of Wits as well. I didn't get in, so. Obviously now I'm like, my dreams medicine are crushed. This is what I want to do. This is what my dream was. I can now become a doctor. What next?
What now?
And this is all you've known, right? Like, this is all you've been working towards. I did all my sciences, physics, chemistry, bio.
Don't remind me.
Everything. And so then I had to obviously now think, okay, what's my next plan? Because we applied, South Africa, you start applying for universities in grade 11, from what I remember, before matric. And so I started asking myself, okay, what do I enjoy? So I really enjoyed maths. I was really good at maths as well.
I wasn't. That's a story for another day, guys. I did pass it.
Hey, look at where you are now. It doesn't matter. We're all here now.
Yeah, true.
And so a lot of the teachers were like, "Oh, you're good in maths. Go and study this course called actuarial science." And at the time, it was a very hot degree because it was known to get lots of money. It's still online.
Yes.
It still pays really, really well. But they said if you know maths, love maths, go study actuarial science. And so I didn't get into that because that was University of Cape Town. I didn't get into actuarial science University of Cape Town, but I got into a program called quantitative management, which was mostly statistics, very, very mathematical still, but just not at the actuarial science level. But then I was told that, I mean, because we all study the same things in first year, you're allowed to we basically all do all the same courses, because they know that you're not decided on your final decision. So they give you a bit of everything, and then you decide in the next year.
On the second year, that's when life gets real.
Yeah. University. So at University of Cape Town, so I was studying this program called quantitative management, and that was first year. And I was told that if I do these stats courses, I could get into actuarial science if I passed those courses. Yeah, lo and behold, I failed. I failed for the first time in my life.
That journey is hard.
I failed again. So now I'm like, this is the first time Kaluba has an F on her transcript. What am I going to do? Like, you know, and the thing is, it's university, it's your first year, everyone's doing so well. And it's someone who's coming from being an A student, and now you're seeing an F. It can be very, very demoralizing. But I was able to continue in this program. So obviously actuarial science was not an option. I failed, I couldn't get in. And when I look back now, I'm like, you know what, I'm actually glad that it didn't work out. Yeah. No, sometimes things happen. In that moment, it may seem like it's like a setback, but it's just opening a different opportunity. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. It's not a setback, it's a setup. Yes, I love that. So that was my setup. It definitely got me to where I am now, because while I was studying that program, then in second year I went to register, and they told me that they've changed the curriculum. So I went to register, happy, excited with my registration form, and then they're like, you have the wrong form. What do you mean you have the wrong form? Like, we've changed the course. Even the name of the course was changed, and then they introduced computer science into the course. At this point, I have no idea about what computer science is. I was not exposed as much. I mean, my mom was in IT, but I didn't really have an idea of what she was doing. But the IT space for me was still like
very foreign.
Yes, computer for the science, programming. Python is a programming language at the time, but the only Python I knew was a snake.
That's why I'm like, why are we going there?
So that was the first course that I did, and then I barely scraped, and I think that was the point at which like imposter syndrome for me was at a high, because I've just failed a course. Now I have to go down, I'm registering, and there's a new course, and it's a course that something I've never seen before. I've never been exposed to any of this. I'm sitting in the classroom with people who are telling me that their parents are software engineers. They've been playing with computers since they were 5, since they were born. Like, I got my laptop. I think my laptop in grade 11, and you know, so it was a bit. Imposter syndrome was at a high at that point. And on top of that, we all know that this computer science or tech space is very male dominated. So I'm looking at everyone else in my classroom. I'm like, where are most of the people who look like me? Like
anyone, someone,
you know. So it was just all of those factors now coming into play. So it was a bit of a mental battle, I'm not going to lie. But then obviously the more I learned the foundations, which was great, and then they brought more courses, and I started tutoring as well, because I realized I enjoyed teaching. I really had good tutors in university, and I saw the impact that they had on my performance, like what that they had on my results, just from having a really, really good tutor who explained things really well. And so I said, you know what, let me also
help
pass it on. I've done really well in this courses. Clearly I know something and I'm doing something right. Let me help other people who also struggled, because I know when I failed that course, it was because I didn't ask for help, and I felt like maybe I had no one to help me. So I did a bit of tutoring, and I realized, I love this. I love the statistics. I love the computer science. I love teaching coding. And so when I graduated, I was trying to figure out now, like, okay, what are my next steps? What are we doing? Am I working? You know, am I going to study further? What do I want to do? And so I started to do a bit of research now, because I'm like, you know what, Kaluba, your whole life you've been letting people decide for you.
Now it's your turn.
Now it's time for you to
It's called adulting.
It's called adulting. That was the first taste of adulting, and but I had to grab it here because now I'm like, okay, there's no turning back. Like the future depends on this decision.
Yes.
So I started doing a bit of research. I tried to I did some job not job interviews. I would apply to different jobs. And I think some universities have the thing where some companies go and they do expos where
at school.
Yeah, so they would come all these big consulting companies would come and they do an expo and you can go and ask questions, or they'll just come and have events and then they'll always give free food. Obviously, as a student, that you're free food,
but you always get something. Actually, I know I always ran for the free goodie bags and all of that, but you get something out of it.
Always, yeah. So I was trying to find out as much as possible. Okay, consulting, what is it about? Do I want to go into consulting? Do I want to go into finance? Do I want to go into computer science? What is it? So I used to attend a lot of events. I used to always go to conferences. There would be tech conferences happening, especially in Cape Town. There's the Africa Festival. I would always go to those things just to do my research and find out. And then while I was doing this, I also go into Google. What are the future, technologies to look out for and stuff? Because being an international student or foreigner, especially in a country like SA, it's not to say it's difficult, but the fact of the matter is you have to work harder than everyone else. You have to work harder, and you also have to find a way to differentiate yourself. Yeah,
I think. Sorry to cut you there.
Yeah.
I think being. I don't like the word foreigner, but
I hate that word.
Let's use it to make the point.
In my continent, but anyway.
I think being a foreigner anyway requires you to double up a little bit, work a little bit hard, like you were saying, differentiate yourself from the rest, because obviously there's so many things that the people of that place have access to that you might not have access to. I have a friend, one of my good friends, she struggled as well when she came to SA, and she's like, but friend, something as simple as getting an F&B account, bank account. I have the money, I have the job, I just want to have a bank account.
Yeah.
So I kind of understood from her that it's not as easy as maybe someone would be like, you came with your parents, so you got this. So I understand where you're coming from with that part.
No, it's I don't know, it's you're constantly reminded. Every form that you fill in, there's always a box for a national. I remember at some point someone even told me to remove anything to do with my country on my CV, because when they're filtering,
when they look at that,
and they see that you're a foreigner, I'm not sure how true it is. I was just told that just maybe take out anything to do with your country, or show that you're from Zambia. Just have your skills, because I think that will almost put you to a disadvantage, which was sad, because I love where I come from. I want to embrace my home. I'm proud of my country. And
I think there's a lot of stigmas around foreign nationals, I think, in any country. So with that having to be removed from your CV, it's mainly for the stigma around it.
Yeah.
You don't know the person scanning the CV, what stigma do they believe in about literally anything. So I can understand that, but it's not right, guys. We really need to talk about it and see how we can move forward from there.
Yeah.
So now we have Kaluba, a data engineer. I was like, man, that was a big word. What is a data engineer and what do you do? What is it all about?
So even how I ended up as a data engineer, I'm just that's weird that you even said that. I used to think of Kaluba MBCHP.
Yes, queen. There's still time.
So I actually also only found out about it when I got into the job. So basically, a data engineer, what we do is we do a lot of cleaning of data. So most of the time when people see data, it's on dashboard. So you see a dashboard, the company needs a report, data reports. It looks nice and clean, and they've done pictures and charts and all of those things. But before it gets there, it needs to go through a process where you get it from source, which could be maybe a database, and then you need to do some cleaning. You need to do things like that. Then after the cleaning, then you hand it over to the analysts. Data analysts, or maybe the data scientists. So we do a lot of that process of the plumbing, of cleaning and understanding data. And so that's pretty much what it does. And you can do that in any environment. So we do it on the cloud as well. We use some cloud technology. So cloud technologies has been it's been becoming more prominent because it's a way now that companies have realized that they can save on costs, but also still grow their businesses or scale. And so I think it's been really, I've learned so much. Like I said, I've learned everything on the job. When I joined, I was actually I was doing a software engineering, so working on an app. And only this year now I'm doing some of the data engineering work
as well.
and exposed to the bank in the banking industry. So I've gotten to learn quite a lot just on the job.
Data is the way.
Data is the way. Data is where the money is at.
I like how no matter which industry you are in, there's going to be a space for a data analyst. There's going to be a space for a data engineer, because data is the way to go. AI is ruling the world at this point. And it's so good to sit down with someone who has a background of what goes on in there. There's a lot of people who, obviously, I was one of them. I didn't even know what it's about. But I like how you've just simplified it. You're just cleaning data.
Basically.
We don't want dirty data, guys. We want clean data.
You want it to make money.
That.
It's like oil. It's like they say data is the new oil. Oil in its raw form is not. But when they clean it up, when they refine it, now petrol prices are, it becomes very valuable. So data is the same way. So yeah.
I love that. I really love that. We're gonna get a little bit personal.
Yeah.
I hope it's okay.
No, I love it personal.
But take us back to Kaluba as a young girl at home, your aspirations, your dreams. We know that she wanted to be a doctor. She's still gonna be a doctor. But like your mindset, how you are. I have a lot of young women, girls, teenagers who will always say, you don't know how I feel. You've never experienced what I've experienced. And they forget that we've all been there. So I always like someone to take us a little bit back of how they were, their mindsets, their thinking when they were young, and how it has propelled them to be where they are today. Because I may not have experienced the same on the dot experience as you did, but one way or another, I was a teenager and I did go through certain things that you might think I don't know about.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I was trying to think back. I've been very blessed to, because my parents' jobs, I've been blessed to travel, live in different countries.
Oh, nice.
So besides Zambia, it was South Africa, then the UK as well, Namibia. I was in Cape Town. Now I'm in Johannesburg. So I've really gotten to be exposed to so many different cultures and people and how people do things. So Kaluba, coming from Zambia, she was I think I've always been someone that when I look back now, and always when I go back and you meet friends and they're like, are you still smart? Like, I've always been someone who's ambitious.
Known to be smart.
Very smart, and I've always been, I'm very ambitious, but also just a very carefree person. I mean, I wasn't, now I think I'm a bit more carefree. I used to care a lot about what people used to say about me, and obviously, as a woman, you almost like raised in a conservative nation. I guess Zambia was a bit conservative, so
you did
yeah. So I did care a lot about what people thought about me, and so being exposed to like just different people, different nations, I've gotten to make friends from like all parts of the world, like Namibia. I mean, especially Africa, Namibia, Ghana, Congo, like so many countries, and it's made me realize that like we're all very similar, and that's why you said this name of foreigner. It doesn't make sense. It's nonsense, because we're all very similar. In just the foods that we eat, in the languages that we speak.
And what makes you different makes you beautiful.
All right,
the things that make it all beautiful.
Exactly, and I love it when people ask me, "What's your name?" I'm like, Kaluba. They're like, "Hey,
it sounds so exotic."
Literally, that's what they say.
When I heard it, I was like, ooh.
But if you go to Zambia, you'll find quite a few of them. So I'm out here, I'm like, you know what, let me
just
shine.
enjoy.
Let me shine. But like, you're right, just like you said, even just like navigating the space and being in an environment that is, they say, male dominated, and it made me realize how much or how important representation is in spaces. And so that's why I was also trying to find, what's the word, always seeking communities or spaces where I have people who look like me, who I can relate to, who are like-minded, because that has been the driving force in my life, and me striving to dream more and more and more, is because I've seen people who were in my class. who are doing big things, you know, and they're like, okay, I mean, she wasn't the smartest, and like
she was my neighbor.
She was my neighbor.
No, so how is she?
You know,
I get what you
how
mean.
is she? She's already like, I mean, going to what's this? Maybe let me say Silicon Valley, or she's doing all of these things, and her and I were in the same class. It's like, wow. I mean, if she can do it, so can I. So that's definitely been the driving factor of me becoming a data engineer, or just me striving to do more and more, or me navigating this space as, I don't know, people say a foreigner or a woman or whatever it is. But yeah, it's just been a lot of that, and also just doing a lot of inner work. A lot of
just sitting with yourself.
I started asking myself in university. I'm not sure. I'm sure you also had that phase where you start asking yourself, why am I here?
Why am I here? What am I doing?
What's my purpose?
Yes.
Asking those questions is very important. Very, very important. And if you, someone who's like, you know, if you Christian, you pray about it. I meditate. I pray about it. So I started asking myself when I university, quite a bit young. I was asking myself about my purpose. Why am I here? And slowly but surely, like you start seeing things revealed to you, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, and you really need to do the inner work. You need to start working on that voice on the inside.
I love what you are saying. If you start asking yourself those questions, no matter how young you may be, it gives direction to where you are going, because there's certain places that you're going to be in, and when you've answered why am I here, you start realizing that the answer to why am I here and this place don't work well together, so I'm not supposed to be here. I really feel like that for me helped me as a young woman, from being a teenager straight into now becoming an adulthood. Now it made me realize that actually you are directing your life. You are guiding. I always like to say that I may not be the creator of my own life, but I am co-creator, creating my life with the creator. So he's not going to do everything by himself. No. I need to also make the decisions. And I like what you're saying. You also mentioned something so important. Miss Universe, I think she was Miss Universe, was it last year?
Is it Zosie? Yes.
She said we must take up space.
Oh, that's my motto. Yeah.
So I like what you were saying, that like you need to be visible in a space, and then find people, 2 or 3 people you identify with, great, but you need to be visible. And you being in a male-dominated industry, it's very important for you as a woman to say, hey, I'm here. You know us.
And I deserve to be here.
I deserve to be here. I didn't just wake up. I know there's a lot of people who throw things at us. You're just a woman. You're a foreigner. You black. You short. You tall.
So, and then
what?
That's what makes me
here.
That's what makes me me.
What's your like your day-to-day that like helps you cope in male-dominated space in your industry, where you know that what, Kaluba, you are here and we're doing this? Are you in affirmations, girl?
Definitely. Can I tell you? You know, when I joined TerraFlow, right? Raised in a culture of elderly people you must respect.
Yes.
And there's a blurry line between almost like respect and fear. In some certain cultures. So
definitely.
That was my biggest thing that I had to break, because I was worried that, like, I was so young. I mean, I was not young, but I was a bit young compared to the clients that I was working with, who were like people's fathers and grandfathers. And so now Kaluba here is telling someone what to do, or how do you challenge someone?
Now you need to find a nice way of
saying it.
I
used to, and because we also do a lot of client-facing work, so you have to basically give feedback to the client. Can I tell you how at the beginning of this year, like I would, even when I joined TerraFlow, like I would be so scared in a meeting. My heart would beat so fast because I'm like, what am I going to say? Are they even going to take me seriously? I had all these, like, it was such a struggle. It was such a struggle. And I'm so blessed to have had a mentor. I got a mentor at TerraFlow. I got a mentor. Her name was Simone. And so Simone asked me, Kaluba, what are the 3 things that you want to achieve as part of this mentorship program? And a big one for me is leading a team, and part of that was working on my confidence. And it's funny because people would always look at me and tell me, Kaluba, you're so confident, you're so confident, you're so this, and I'm like, I don't see it.
It always comes down to, do you see it?
And if you don't, no matter how many people will tell you, you won't believe it. So she made me start doing small tasks. So she would be like, make a list of maybe it should be like wear an item, a power, like wear a piece of clothing that you feel empowers you. So sometimes I'll come to the office in heels, or I'll just like wear a power lipstick. You know, do a power pose. Before your meetings, say an affirmation. I am smart. I am beautiful. I speak with clarity. Like I would always just before any meeting or client meeting, I would say these things. Or it should be like ask a question in the meeting, you know, write down how it went, how do you feel about it, you know, just write, keep track of what you're doing, but do these small things. And honestly, over time, like now I'm leading a project now, and the confidence is crazy. Like when I look back at my growth and the work that I've put in, it compounds. So you're right. Yes, affirmations. I do that.
I like power pose. You mentioned something about a power pose.
Power pose. Wear that piece of clothing. Do your makeup. Like I will do my makeup. I will wear my wig. I will put my heels on, and I will walk into a space now like I deserve to be here and own that space. But it's taken a lot of inner work.
It goes back to what you said, and I really feel like if you're gonna take anything that we've said today, take this one. Do something with your inner self.
Always.
Deal with your inner self. Whatever insecurities and fears that you have, they're not going to go away.
No.
You just need to deal with them. If it means getting a mentor like you did, if it means spending time with your affirmations, finding something and all of those things, deal with those things. It's very important. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We're not done. Before we go, before we wrap this up, any advice you'd like to give to not just young women in general? You know the challenges. You will spend the whole day talking about the challenges. Anything?
I think it would just to be unapologetically yourself and don't let people put you in a box. I'm Kaluba. Kaluba, when I'm sitting behind my laptop, I'm a really good coder, but also I like to go out with my friends and have drinks. But also, you know, I have different faces, and sometimes people want to put us in a box and say, you know, you are a tech person, you're an IT person. They expect you to be with the glasses and the geeks, but no, like you can do your nails, be someone who loves to do their nails and loves to do their makeup. It's okay, like be unapologetically you, but definitely do the inner work, because there's only things that you can't control and things that you can control, and the only thing that you can control is that voice within. So just work on that. Work on
yourself.
And you are worthy. You are worthy. Just be unapologetically you. Like be authentic. That's the one thing for me.
It makes you you.
It makes you
change.
That's what makes you different.
Yeah,
and that is
like
your value proposition in any space.
Love it. Gosh, thank you so much. What a great conversation, guys. I can go on. She can go on clearly, but we really hope you enjoyed this chat. Any information that you need to know about a data engineer, hit me up and I will get it for you from her. Anything you need to know, but if you're going to remember anything from us, just be unapologetically yourself. That's what she's saying. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much
really
for having
appreciate
me.
for you to come here.
Thank you so much. I hope people found this very inspiring.
That's the whole idea. And what is not inspiring about you?
Ah, stop it.
Thank you so much. And we are out of here. From me, your guest from In Conversation With, I am out, and our guest, Kaluba.
Thank
Still sounds very important.